Well, why don't we just get started and tell me, what you're working on and what questions you have.
So I am actually working right now on a sci-fi young adult novel.
Hmm.
And the questions I have is I'm trying to figure out because I'm making it because it's a father-daughter kind of bonding story.
Okay.
So it would be more of the emotional journey that she goes through with the different character that she meets. And so my question is how would I make it I want to make it emotional, but I don't want to make it like, how do I put this? I don't want to make it like so drastic that it's just you don't want to actually finish the story because you're just bawling your eyes out.
So, maybe like how do you balance the internal and the plot?
Correct.
Okay. So for the most part, what I do for that is I would figure out the internal and the external so that you have them separate. Do you have my 10 plot points mini course? Have you taken that?
I don't believe I have.
Okay. I can send you the link for that. I usually link it up in the show notes anyway. And that
Okay.
it specifically helps you plot out the plot, what's going to happen, kind of get a skeletal structure for it. But you can use the same thing to plot out your internal arc if you want. In terms of the internal arc, I mean, do you have a transformation in place for either of the characters?
So the main character, she's a young female. She's 16 when you guys meet her, she'll be like, she'll start off as a baby and then you'll meet her again when she's 7. And then the main story is when she's 16 to 21 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
And so mostly that's when the story actually really starts at 16 to 21. And
Okay.
it's mostly that she starts off kind of, she's like, I don't know how to say this. She's your typical, I don't want to say typical, but like she's your normal teenager. She rebels against everything. She questions everything. She's always on her cell phone, her tablet, her computer, because it's futuristic. So it's all technology.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't believe in the system because the system is mostly about being uniform. Like everyone wears the same outfit, everyone dresses the same. They drive the same car. Like this is a certain city that she's in that they drive the same car. They live in the same house, type of house, and she has to conform. And that's something that she does not want to do. And so she rebels against that system that's being controlled by somebody that no one ever sees. And
Right.
so she's questioning, why are we having to follow this person that no one ever sees? We never hear their true voice. We don't know if it's a man. We don't know if it's a woman. It could be an animal for all we know.
So how will she transform by the end of the book?
So she is actually, I don't want to give out too much away, but she is actually going to transform. Now it could be good or it could be bad. I haven't figured that out yet. But she does, I will say she does find her father in the end because
Okay.
it is the father daughter bonding. She does find her father in the end, and she does eventually become her father. But the question at the end is it a good thing or is it a bad thing that she became her father's daughter?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, I mean, what I usually teach, so if she doesn't find her father until the end-ish, she's probably not going to have a huge relationship with him until then, right?
Correct. I mean, he's there, but the thing is that he knows she's there. Like he pretty much talks through like a cell phone that she doesn't know that it's him actually,
Okay.
but he talks through like the cell phone and everything. And so, but her whole thing is she thinks her father is not able to be with her because of what he's doing. Like she thinks that he's helping out this dictator that no one ever sees. So she's so her mother was always telling her he cannot be, unfortunately, he cannot be with you because the government will find you because you are just like him. And so he's
Mhm.
trying to stay away from you so that they cannot find you. They cannot locate you at all. And so she's like, well, then why she questions her value because her mother has told her you're very valuable to the government. And she's like, well, I don't want to be valuable because if I wasn't valuable, my father would be here.
Mm.
So, so
So
that's one.
it sounds like to me that what you're looking at here then is her internal arc is going to be um, is it going to be learning her value or accepting her value by the end?
It's going to be probably mostly accepting her value
Okay.
because she's going to find her father and then she's going to learn about, because she internally to her, she believes she has no identity because she doesn't know who she is because her father's not there. Everyone talks about that she's just like her father. Her mother always says she's just like her father, but she has never seen him, ever because
Hmm.
he couldn't be around her since she was a baby. So he has never she all she's ever seen was a picture of him, but she doesn't know how he is personally or does he have any, quirks or anything that she has? Did she inherit anything from him? The only thing she is told is that she inherited his high intelligence and um, and that's all that she knows. But she claims she has no identity because she doesn't know who she is. But then towards the end, when she meets them, she finds out she is a lot like her father in so many different ways. And that's when she actually truly finds out her identity. And that's why I said about she became her father's daughter, but we don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Right. Okay. So to answer your question, what I would do, so this is something I teach the internal arc in great detail inside the membership, and so it's something I probably couldn't do in great detail on a half-hour call. But what I would do is I would just be very intentional about laying out every part of that internal arc. So think about how she feels at the beginning. What would her thoughts be? What are her emotions? What kind of steps will she go through? You said she's going to have doubt. She's going to have identity crisis, who am I? Where do I come from? Like lay all of that out and write it out so that you know exactly what to put into the book, in her internal dialogue and her internal thoughts as she goes through that. Then lay out the plot, what actually happens in the plot of the story next to it, and then just find ways to intertwine them so that when this happens, she's feeling this way, and then something else happens and she's feeling that way. And really, what's happening in the plot should drive in some way how she's feeling. Does something happen that's maybe very high action in the plot that then suddenly gives her even more of an identity crisis, or maybe drives her even more to want to find her father? You know what I mean? So that you're
Correct.
really entangling those. But by going back and forth and making sure that you have both the physical and the emotional at every single step, then it won't feel too overwhelming and it should flow together pretty well if you can do that.
Okay. That actually makes great sense.
Okay, good. Um, what else? Anything else I can help you with?
No, I believe that's pretty much it. That was mostly what I was trying to figure out is how to incorporate the internal and the external without one overwhelming the other.
Yeah, yeah. Always try to do so. Like I said, I'll send you the link, but I would go through the 10 plot points and then try to apply those for the internal arc too, because really the 10 plot points are about a what do you call it, like a transformation over time, and that does apply to the plot. It also can apply to the internal, and that'll help you make sure you have all the right steps of the internal. So when you get to the climactic point in the story, that usually is also the transformation point for the character. They're making a choice about who they're going to be moving forward. So you can kind of mirror those two things. I was going to say one other thing. So make sure that you're doing that. And then just try to be as cause and effect about it as you can so that one causes the other or affects the other in some way. And that way it doesn't feel like there's two independent things that are happening at the same time, but they are actually related and feeding into each other.
Yeah, that's what I was yeah, that's where I was trying to get to is how can I make sure that they balance each other out, but then they also affect each other at the same time.
Right. Right. Good. So how much of this book do you have written? How far along are you?
I actually have at least 30,000 words.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. You're well on your way then.
I'm halfway there. Um,
Good.
have you ever been traditionally published?
I was traditionally published, not by one of the really big
Yeah.
5 or big 6 publishing companies, but by a small independent one, very early in my career, I was,
Do
but I'm no
you
longer with them.
Yeah. Do you know if offhand, since you've been in the traditional publishing, what the word count usually is recommended for that type?
I don't, but we can find out here. Hold on. Are you on ChatGPT at all?
I can, well, if I pull it up, then you may.
Yeah. So that's something that, I mean, I don't, because there's all
Yeah.
different genres, I don't know off the top of my head, but hold on. I'm going to share my screen and I'll just kind of show you how you can do this in the future. So can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So you said this is a YA science fiction. Can you go any more granular than that on the on the subgenre or like what the tropes are?
It's well, it's what would be the trope? It's coming of age because she does get older. It's coming of age. It's dystopian. I'm trying to think what other.
Any alien or alien invasion, any romance, anything like that?
No, it's just
No?
very futuristic, like technology. Technology. It's like they call it the soft sci-fi. It's not the hardcore sci-fi. It's the soft sci-fi where it's like mostly
Right.
psychological, but the technology is included and does affect in that
Uh-huh.
story. But it's not like the main like hard sci-fi is.
Right. Okay. So usually when you're talking to AI, give it some context, like how you want it to answer you. I usually give it something that it's an expert in so that it's giving you expert advice instead of like, Joe Schmo advice that might not actually be correct. So I'm going to say you're an expert in the fiction space, especially when it comes to different genre requirements. What is if I can type here, the average or recommended word count for a YA dystopian coming of age science fiction novel, and see what it tells us here. So it's usually 60 to 90,000 words, or for a sweet spot, 70 to 85. So right in there.
Okay.
Some adjustments. You can stretch a bit longer to allow for world building if you want. So even if you went up to 90 or 100, that would be okay. And it just kind of goes over market expectations, quick benchmarks. Hunger Games was 99K, Divergent was 104, Legend was 98. But it sounds like the 80 to 90K is a good target. So yeah, I mean, you said you're about halfway done. If you only do 60,000 words, that'll be on the shorter side, but that wouldn't be necessarily incorrect for your genre, so you'd be okay there.
Yeah, because I was hearing about I was hearing between like 70 to 90,000 was like the sweet spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, this says 70 to 85, but yeah, that's still
Yeah.
within the same range. So yeah, for sure. So I would probably aim for somewhere around there.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anything else I can help you with before we wrap up?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. Great. Well, I will send you a link that has that 10 plot points. It's a free mini course that I offer. So I would go through that and it'll probably be helpful to you in figuring out your story. But yeah, other than that, just do what we've talked about, and good luck getting your story written. It sounds like you're well on your way.
Thank you.